Well, what is good, everybody? This is the Maine Hockey Report brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Monday night. Going to be a short one tonight. I have had a long day, first week of school vacation for my kiddo, and summer camp has not started yet. So, trying to parlay work with time with him and keeping him active and going and also just trying to come back after Saturday's live stream debacle. Like I said in my short video there, it was like this live stream that just wasn't destined to happen. So I'm going to keep it short tonight because I'm exhausted. I am exactly not wanting to be doing this tonight, wanting to be right in bed right now. But some big news dropping over the last 24 hours. As we all know by now, Brady Tkachuk, former captain of the Ottawa Senators, heading to the Florida Panthers to go play with his brother Matthew and Barkov and Brian Marchand and those just damn Florida Panthers. They've done it again. They have done it again. Big trade. Three first rounders, second round. I don't have the details in front of me right here, but they make that trade with Seattle to pick up another first round pick. You kind of felt like when that happened, they were okay. They must be trying to package something together here to make something happen. So, not really a shock. I mean, Matthew and Brady obviously been wanting to play together for a while. And here we are, big shift in division trade as well. Tough one. I think if, trying to think about Ottawa Senator fans, you've made the playoffs the last couple of years. This is your captain. This is like your identity player. But clearly from a lot of things you read, he wasn't going to stick around after that contract. So if that's the case, I guess if you're Ottawa, you went out and you got a haul for him. You got a ton of futures, a ton of these draft picks. And now you have those draft picks if they want to. They can go and take them and try to package them for throw a name out there, maybe a Robert Thomas, type of guy, if he's available, or someone of that ilk. Maybe it's a Dylan Larkin, something like that. Although I don't know if Larkin would go that route. Who knows? And for Florida, this is obviously an all-in move for them. After 1 year out with all their injuries, Barkov looks good and healthy, and assuming everybody comes into camp healthy, this is going to be a very loaded team once again. Now, there are still a lot of hurdles to cross, a lot of work to be done. Sergei Bobrovsky is a free agent. What do they do in net? Does he come back, or do they move forward and go a different direction there? Bob coming off, I think it was a $10 million AAV contract there that he had signed, I believe, in Columbus initially. And he's been worth every penny. Obviously, 3 trips to the Stanley Cup, 2 cups, in their name, in no small part because of the work he did. So we'll see what happens there for the Florida Panthers. But man, if they're healthy, they are going to be a hard out. No question about it, guys. They are going, and they're also going to be the chirpiest team, I think, in the league. When you throw in Brad Marchand, when you throw in Matthew Tkachuk, and now Brady Tkachuk, and they get other chirpers on that team too. I mean, this is going to be a team that's just going to piss a lot of people off going into next year, and it could be some fun theater. If you're not, if it's not your team playing against them, I should say. So if anything, it's drama. It's a good storyline going into this summer, going into July 1st, and we'll see how it goes. So, let's think about this from the Boston Bruins perspective for just a second. We're closing in. It's today's June 22nd, so we're just a little over a week away from the start of free agency. Obviously the draft coming right up. It was already so questionable what Boston should do this year. Now what do you do? Now what do you do if you're Boston? You already knew that Florida was going to be back a little bit and be tough. You fully expect Toronto to have maybe some sort of a bounce back, but I guess we'll see. Maybe that's still a verdict that's left to be written. Montreal's not going any place. You assume that Buffalo, even if they lose Tuck, they're probably still going to be kind of tough. Tampa's going to be tough. So if you're the Boston Bruins and now this move happens, where does that leave you? What do you want this team to do? I was starting to talk about this on the live stream on Saturday when I had the software issues, but I mean, just my 2 cents right out of the gate is I do not want to put all the eggs into the 2026-2027 basket. Florida's done that. Good on them. Their team is maybe more ripe and ready for another run. This Boston Bruins team is not. They are just not in that same position. And you finally have some good young assets. You finally have some good young players that are just now starting to ripen just a little bit. Still not sure where these kids go. But, guys like James Hagens, Dean Letourneau, you got the Brunet, the young defenseman. Of course, you had Mitten and Kostadinov, who played so well a year ago, really emerging. And you do have some draft capital. Not a ton, but more than we're used to here for Bruins fans over the past, I'd say, 15 or so years. So you do have some assets. You do have some things where if, Neely and Sweeney want to be aggressive, they do have probably one big move in them. But as I think about this right now tonight, you're still 3 players at least away, and that's assuming you don't trade Zacha. That's assuming Arvidsson comes back. You still need a number 1 or number 2 type center. I think you need 2 defensemen, 2 top 4 defensemen, either a right shot D or maybe 2 right shot Ds, depending on Andrew Peak, or maybe it's finding Charlie McAvoy a better partner. Because listen, as much as Aspero was great last year and he was found money, I'm so happy that Aspero is here. I don't want to see him partner with McAvoy next year. McAvoy needs a real running mate out there. He really does. And so maybe there's another left shot D that you can go out and grab to partner with him and make a really strong, top pairing defensive unit out there. So you're 3 pieces away. So, do you want to go out and get Rasmus Andersson as one of those right shot D? Maybe. Is it a Trouba? Is it a John Carlson? One of those kind of guys for shorter money, let's say. I'm not sure. I think those are all names that are being talked about and being batted around. Is it? And I'm forgetting now that the Philadelphia defense, was it Ristolainen who's being talked about as well? And correct me on that if I'm wrong. Again, don't have it in front of me. Literally, I did no prep for this video today. I put kiddo to bed a half hour ago, and I'm having my first beer of the night. I'm just going to show this one off. This is the Portland Hearts of Pine Pale Ale. My first time trying this one. Of course, Hearts of Pine is the soccer club here in Portland. Dexter Payne, owner of the Maine Mariners, is an investing party, is a minority owner of the team. This can, that logo is just amazing, and it's got a little texture to it. It's like when I first picked it up, I'm like, that's a nice can there, and it's quite a good beer too, made by I believe that's Bissell Brothers making this one here. If anybody local beer enthusiast, Bissell is obviously really, really good beer. I'm just checking myself. Yeah, it is Bissell Brothers. Didn't want to get that one wrong. So yeah, I think it really begs a lot of questions as to how the Boston Bruins tackle this offseason. Would I love Dylan Larkin? Yeah, I would. Would I love an Alex Tuch? Yeah, I'd love him the next 3 or 4 years. I don't know if I'd love him at 37 or 38 years old at $11 million per season. I don't think I would love that at all, in my opinion. But, the Bruins continue, and I guess I do appreciate it. They're trying to kind of have one foot in one pot, one foot in another pot. They're trying to build for the future. And you've seen that in the drafting. You've seen that in the player development, in the acquiring of younger assets. I even look at a guy like Lucas Reichel that they picked up, and the kid, I don't have the name in front of me, the Swedish kid they just picked up. Is it Biaska, I think the name is, who I think could be found money. So they're definitely investing in the future, but they're also trying to play for a little bit of now. They're trying to still be a relevant team and be in the playoff mix like they were a year ago. And I think with Coach Sturm and the core you have, you can probably do both. Maybe you can actually do both. But I don't think you're a cup team. I do not think, especially in this Atlantic division that just suddenly got a lot harder with Brady Tkachuk, flipping over to from Ottawa to Florida. I just don't want to see you go all in for this year. I don't think I want to see the big splash this year, especially if it means trading, a Letourneau or trading a Hagen. I mean, Letourneau, I know he was a couple years ago the first round draft choice. Took him a couple years, but big, tall kid, skates really well for a big guy. Suddenly, after the year he just had in college, he looks like he might be the making of something. He could be, I'm saying could be, I don't want to put him right out there, but he could be a top 6 center in the NHL. And he has the build, has the frame. I think he has the skating ability to potentially be that, maybe one of those guys. And after his first year of college, you wouldn't have said that. He was very, very raw coming out. Started to look good. James Higgins, of course, we really don't know yet. Had a very good year in college. Did not look out of place in the few games he got in Boston a year ago. Again, I've talked to some guys locally here who run different schools and have their hand in the scouting world. And a couple of my guys have said, he may not be anything more than a third line center. Again, I hope they're wrong on that. I hope that he's more than that. But again, the verdict is still very much out. If you were close, okay, if you were, let's say you were made it to the second round a year ago and you lost a hard-fought series, or maybe you played Carolina in the Eastern Finals a year ago, and lost that series, and you were on the verge, you were knocking on the door, like really knocking on the door. Maybe you go all in. Maybe you trade those assets and say, we're going to go out and get a Tuck. We're going to go out and get a Larkin. We'll go out and make the big splash and get a Robert Thomas type of guy. I mean, all these players you'd love to have on your team, wouldn't you? Of course you would, but you're not that. I think we all have to understand that even if this team makes the playoffs, and I think they could, I still think they could be a wildcard type team. Now, I know we're way far ahead of making any predictions because we got to get through July and see what happens around the league and see what the Bruins do actually choose to do. It all comes down to this: a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
With DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
But I wouldn't be shocked at all if they're still kind of right around it like they were a year ago and playing competitive hockey, playing exciting hockey, and being a wildcard team, being a wildcard 1, wildcard 2 type of club. I still don't think there's enough you can do this year without just trading every little last asset to maybe have a real cup push in you. I just think all the cards are lining up to, let's be patient. Let's take a page out of the Carolina Hurricanes book for a second. Continue on that path. Do not steer away from the path you're on right now. They decided a couple years ago to do a light retool and a reinvestment in younger players and in draft capital. And it's starting to work a little bit. Again, we just talked about some of these guys, Fraser Mitten being one of those guys. Kustadinov found money. You get James Higgins. You get, of course, Dean Letourneau, who's developing. Some of these other guys. So it's working. And you still have a very good top core of Pasta and, I put Morgan Geekie in there. Of course, McAvoy. Of course, Swayman, in net. And there's some other things that are being talked about. I know Pavel Zacha is being talked about right now. A lot of energy around him after a really career year he had. Do you trade him if you feel like you're not going to? I think if you're going to make a cup push, you got to kind of keep him around. But if maybe you're not that cup contending team and you want to really continue to build for the future, maybe you do move off of him. I don't know. I love Pavel Zacha. I don't want to see them trade him, but I also understand he is. He won't be any more valuable than he is right now, for a team that's really trying to make that push. So I think it's going to be another one really curious to watch. A lot of talk about Anaheim. What do they do? Are they going after, some of the players that, out there? There's been a lot of chatter with Boston and Anaheim. Is Mason Lohrei part of a package that's, going out there for like a Mason McTavish type of player. I mean, there's a lot of conversation around that right now too. So I just think, guys, that it's going to be awfully fun to see the drama, see how this plays out. But I think if you were on the fence 3 or 4 days ago about what Boston should do, and you just saw what Florida did, that's it. I am not putting my eggs in the 26-27 basket. I'm just not. And I know Bruins fans hate to hear that. They want to be going for the cup every year. I get it. It's hard to wait. But man, I think if you try to do that and try to play with all those big boys this year, I don't think it's going to work out. And I think you're going to trade off a lot of really good assets that you're really going to look back on and look silly, 4, 5, 6 years down the road. So I'm okay with what they're doing. I'm okay if they just pump the brakes, continue to try to put out a good, competitive, solid club that can maybe make the playoffs, but also not sacrificing their future and some of these really good, young, exciting players they have brought in as part of the system. Oh, we will see. We will see what they do. Of course, draft is coming up here not too long. Of course, July 1st, right around the corner. But tomorrow, turning to the ECHL, it is the opening of ECHL free agency. All future trades had been completed. Of course, Mariners picking up Jack Works there from Wheeling. So his rights are held by the Maine Mariners. And of course, as we know in the ECHL, everybody's a free agent. 1-year contract. So everybody on that protected list is a free agent. So a lot of work to be done. Of course, ECHL meetings going on. I believe they're Tuesday to Thursday this week. I believe they're in Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. So all the clubs are down there getting ready for that. So there'll be a lot of news coming out. I know I've had a few people come at me and ask, hey, what do you know? What are you hearing? Quite honestly, I'm not hearing anything. I have not heard a word. And I don't think we will hear a word until things are public, until the Mariners are ready to announce certain signings. But I do expect, and this is just a guess, this is just my opinion, that a fair amount of the players who are on that protected list will re-sign here in Maine. You probably won't get all of them, but I think a vast majority of them will come back. It was such a great year to a man. Every player I talked to, every player that was interviewed, they all said the same thing. Just the energy, the culture, Coach Kowalski, Dexter Payne, just everything was just a great experience for so many of these guys a year ago. And it was the best run they've had. And I think that a lot of those guys understand how close they were. Truly how close they were. Now seeing Florida win that cup, how close were we, to maybe, getting to the next round, maybe being able to knock off of Florida in the East Final, and maybe being able to go up against Kansas City instead of those Everblades. So I do expect a lot of these guys are going to resign. I think that there's always going to be change. We know that, but I think there's going to be a lot of familiar faces coming back. And I'm here for that. I'm excited. I think you should want a lot of these guys back because it was a heck of a year for the Maine Mariners. A lot of affiliation changes. I do not have the full list in front of me, but man, oh man, there are so many affiliation changes. Of course, it was just announced that Worcester Railers are now an affiliate of the St. Louis Blues. So they have a little symmetry there with Springfield being right down the road as the AHL club. Of course, the former Portland Pirates. I think the Florida Everblades, I think it's the Pittsburgh Penguins ownership is buying that club. So I think you're going to see Florida be a Pittsburgh affiliate, which means Wheeling will be changing affiliates. I don't know if that one's been announced. But yeah, all sorts of movement. Of course, you have Trenton coming in. I cannot remember now who they're going to be affiliated with. I think Bloomington and the New York Rangers have cut ties. So there's all kinds of stuff. There's more to come. Won't be a huge impact on the Maine Mariners. You're going to have a little bit of a divisional shift with Wheeling coming out and Trenton coming in. So that schedule is going to look a little different, but just, fun stuff. You'll have some new, some of these AHL guys are going to, if they get assigned to the ECHL, they won't be maybe going back to their old home. They'll be going elsewhere next year, depending on how those cookies all crumble. And a big congratulations to Patrice Bergeron, of course, the Hall of Fame list being announced today. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, so kudos to Patrice. Of course, it was just announced a couple days ago. Number 37 going to be joining the Raptors there at the Garden later on this coming up season. So great. No surprises here at all. just one of my favorite all-time Boston Bruins. And man, the guy still looks like he could play. I mean, he does. I know his body's pretty broken after all those years, but just a great thing for him, and so happy for him, and happy that to see him get in there on that first ballot. And one of the original Maine Mariners and one of the best GMs, executives around the league, Bergeron Burke, also getting into the Hall of Fame. Huge one here for the league. He's just an awesome guy, awesome listen. He's on NHL radio a lot with all those shows, and he's on a lot with the Morning Boys there. And he's got this just kind of dry delivery and dry sense of humor. But man, what a wealth of hockey knowledge. And of course, spent some time here with those former Maine Mariners all those years ago. And by a great GM, a great hockey mind, and certainly great to see him get in as well. So anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for me. Like I said, I want to keep this one a little bit short tonight and get myself to bed. But thank you, as always, for watching and listening. I will have more content coming up as Maine Mariner players resign, and as, Rick Kowalski brings in other guys, and as more news breaks around the league, we'll be here, even if it's not full-length videos, some short videos. And I will be getting back to some live streams. I do have a guest list I'm working on here for the summer, so just be watching out for all that. Guys, again, thank you so much. If you haven't hit those like and subscribe buttons, please do so. Helps the channel out so very much. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.